l'après-midi bien riche puisqu'il y a plusieurs interventions. Je suis très contente de donner la parole pour commencer à un étudiant qui va nous parler de qui va témoigner aussi de son expérience d'étudiant, parce que nous sommes sur l'enseignement et la recherche en projet. Je trouve que c'est particulièrement heureux d'avoir cette opportunité. Et donc, en ce qui me concerne, je voulais déjà le faire, mais je le ferai d'autant plus, je réduirai mon intervention à un quart d'heure. Parce que nous avons comme impératif d'arrêter à 17h30. Et donc, je suis contente aussi de voir que le public s'est enrichi. Je pense qu'il y a aussi beaucoup d'étudiants. J'espère que demain, ils seront aussi avec nous, bien que ce soit samedi. C'est l'occasion aussi de découvrir, je pense, d'autres points de vue, d'autres paroles, d'autres imaginaires qui sont, à mon avis, dont on a tous besoin. Et bien voilà, donc je vous laisse vous présenter parce que je ne sais pas quelle est la découverte.
Hi, my name is Alexandre Zein. I'm a senior student. First, I would like to thank Mr. Joseph for this particular honor, to present my 6 years experience here in this faculty. Well, I might say things that you already know, or you maybe already thought me, but eventually became my conviction. Okay, I want to start with this leg, this picture of leg. This leg represents the 6 years that we spent here. It took us 6 years to build those legs, because when the legs are there, we're going to be able to walk. And spring. So this is just our beginning, as you can see. So, before I get to this fact, I used to ask myself this question: what is architecture? We don't really know what architecture is until we really get there. So the definition was an architect who's the guy who builds, beautiful buildings, beautiful shapes. So I used to think it's all about the shape. Although when I got in, I realized it's just not about the shape. It's much bigger than that. You must deal with all these sophistications. And they're all connected together. So, it was first year, it was really important for us to acquire the tools and the languages. The architect's drawing skills is really important. So, and we had those theory and the practical courses. So I'm going to start talking about the theory courses, how to help design an architectural project. So, first part of the theory, we had the technical part. The technical part is the built-in feature that an architect must fully understand in order for him to know how to communicate with other engineers. So we had those courses on, engineering and structural, or electrical, mechanical, and we had those materials technology and buildings technology, because each detail in a project counts. Each detail is part of the whole. And the combo of details assembled all together harmonically is going to give us the final output, which is the architecture. On the other hand, we had those courses related to history and seminars. It's really important for an architect to understand his history. And that we're building today, everything we're building today is the architecture of our times. And it's directly connected to a time frame that is going to become history one day. So teachers used to tell us, you must read, guys. Reading is very important because culture is rudimentary for an architect. It makes them come up with all these great ideas. But I realized something, it's not just about reading a lot or a lot of money. It's much more than creating this curious personality that we built here. We built a curious personality. So we had the attention to want to know more and know exactly what we want to search for. So if we have this curious personality, we're going to be able to, have a lot of culture. We have all our times. So at the beginning, I want to start talking about the practical part. My first project, I used to like one specific style, deconstruction. It was really exciting here that I had a full freedom to expose and to work the project in the style that I like. For example, this is project work with Dr. Nasser. I was so afraid at the beginning. How am I supposed to do those shapes? I was so afraid. But the good part used to tell me, if you're really convinced with this, if you really like what you're doing, go for it. Don't hesitate. And that's another project work with Dr. Kurani. For example, I came up with this project the first time. It was like, what the hell is this? I was like, should I change it? He was like, no. So, go for it. This was really exciting. He gave me full freedom to spread my wings. And that's what's really exciting in the first year and second year. To spread our wings. So the question remains here. Shall the teacher follow the student's style or method, or the inverse? And then the project started to get bigger and bigger, and we came across several sets of teachers with several sets of mindsets and several sets of strategy of work. But eventually we all had this, they led us to an architectural output. But each one was led differently than the other. For example, some focused a lot on functionality of the building more than anything else. On the other hand, some other features focus more on the idea of the project, but they focus more on the concept, more than just other functions or shape. While others, just want to see a beautiful shape with functional beautiful shape. Well, we might take this as something negative or something wrong. But as far as I'm concerned, I want to tell you this. It's really important for a student to focus on one specific thing at one time, because this is the only way he can learn. For example, this project I worked was at the Damascus Road. So I focused only on functionality, and eventually had an architectural output. But I got to learn how to think while building plans. I got to know how to imagine the scenes, how to create beautiful spaces, and how to think logically where to create a functional 100% building. And at the same time, it was really important for me to know how to think the project out, and to imagine the context, and imagine the concept, how to think logically to create an architectural output in terms of concept, context, everything, and how to expose and explain the project. It was really important. So they both are crucial in our formation here. So I changed with time. I was like construction. I started shift style. So as you can see here, this was a project at Monroe. I was creating some sort of seduction. So the project is seducing by those graphics. Until I reached a certain point, 5th year, I had an experience that changed my whole strategy of work and took my architectural thoughts to the next level. So once we were asked to create a public facility in some place in Beirut, I personally chose to work at Archaeology Hotel because I saw that this place is very important and it's very historical and nobody even knows it exists. So I thought that if you create an architecture, if you create a public facility in here, we can maybe create some sort of communication between people and their history through this architecture I'm going to create. So first we had the analysis phase. At the analysis phase, I have found some difficulty. It didn't go so much right. I didn't like it. So I kept on fighting and fighting until I figured out I must go there, stop my foot on ground, watch people, ask them questions, live days and nights in here, understand each aspect of the project, and get the minimum required of data in order for me to start conceptualizing my project. So I came up with this first draft. That was a full rejection. It was like, my teacher was like, no, Alex, it's not how you're supposed to do it. There's a history down here, you need to respect it. So, and of course, architecture must be very pure, very sensitive, and at the same time must be modern, it must reflect our time. Okay, how am I supposed to do that? I got so lost. Until I realized it's not about the shape. And there's a process behind the shape, and there's a story behind the process. So here's the process. First, we had the archaeology down here. So what I did here, I added a new layer because I can't touch them. This layer must fly over all this archaeology. So and I had also the martyr square that I must never forget. So I took the axis of the martyr square and I created a pure rectangle. And what I did here, I created some sort of extension. So instead of the martyr square ending in here, now it ends there. And I created a tunnel for the vehicular axis. So it was a thin line. Thin line, I started to press up and down from the 3 grids, one on left, one on right, and in the middle I created the main structural element. So the whole project is holding on one point. It touches one point, the place where we don't have archaeology. The whole project is almost flying over all these places. And this is the final output. What's interesting about it, it's not its shape. What's interesting about it is how it was made and how it was created. Look at it, it's so sensitive, it's so pure. So this became my strategy of work. First I have the story or the message behind architecture. And then the story is going to generate me the process. And the process is going to generate me the shape or the function. So eventually the shape is unknown. So what I do here, I start working on the shape after knowing the story and knowing the process. I start working on the shape and then I go backward. And I go backward. And then I go forward again until it's there. So what's really interesting about design, you even design the strategy of design. You design time while working the project out. So this is the thing that I really learned there. So after 5 years, I didn't do a single curve. I was like, I really wanted to do a curve, those Hadid curves. I was so, it's real, I really wanted to do it. But I was afraid. I didn't do it because I was afraid at the beginning. They used to tell me, teachers don't like curves, don't do it. But 5th year I had the chance to do it. Because we were asked to create a monorail station and monorail stop. So I thought it's not wrong to create an architecture that reacts to the movement of the train to create some sort of dynamism in architecture. So this project, this was the stop. And this one is the station. As you can see here, I used also the same strategy of work, and I came up with this. The other views. So I ended up with no specific style. I tried them all. But eventually, each one of my colleagues had his own background, had his own strategy of work. I personally have my own background in music and in cinema, and I think they're closely related to architecture because they both conceive some sort of, this sense, this vision. You start up with a scratch piece of paper and then execute it into a visual image. So, architecture, it's a communication. It communicates to your brain through your eyes. Music communicates to your brain through your ears, but they both communicate to our soul. So after 6 years, I changed. I became a new person because architecture changed me. And as for my diploma project, I chose to get back to the 1st year to build those vernacular shelters of our time, using theories of nature. Because you know why? Because I think that an architect must build for all humankind, not just those wealthy, powerful people that want to expose their power of money through architecture. Not just for the government, not just for, rich people, millions of dollars to make a beautiful project. Because I think we don't need millions of dollars to make a beautiful project. We can build a really amazing architecture with our mind out of something very simple, out of something very pure, and we can build for those homeless people and for those poor people. So last week I received the link from my patron under this title. It was a competition, and I'm really proud that this university that we're so ready. We are so ready now to compete with architects, urban planners, NGOs from all over the world under this title. And I hope I make it. And thank you very much for your attention.